Hey guys, awesome to have you here. In this video, we're going to talk about 3 ways to draw the golf ball. We're going to start out with the easiest way, the simplest, the least amount of changes. If you're still struggling, we're going to take it to another level. And then for those of you who really battle that slice, we're going to do it the 3rd level, which I guarantee you follow these drills, you will be getting that draw by the end of this video if you follow these. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so if you're joining us on YouTube, be sure to hit that subscribe button. That's the only way you're going to be notified when we come out with new content in the future. I got some really cool stuff for you, so be sure to hit that button now. All right guys, so with 3 simple solutions to get that ball to draw. Now this first way is going to be the easiest way, and this is for players that are already hitting it pretty straight. If you hit a big slice, this probably isn't going to be extreme enough to get that ball drawing. But for those of you who do hit some draws, you hit some fades, you can hit a variety of shots, this is just going to be the most consistent way I've found to make this happen. And all that is I'm going to set up this alignment stick going right toward my target. So about right there is my target. And all I want to do is the more that I can line up to the right, or tweak my stance to the right, the more that ball is naturally going to want to draw. So if I'm straight ahead, all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to line up a little bit to the right. As a good rule of thumb, I like to have my feet pointing personally about the direction I want the ball to start. So if I want it to start 30 yards to the right, I'm going to line up even more. If I want to start 5 yards to the right, it's going to be a little bit less. So for this one, just line up a little bit right and take your normal swing. Visualize the last piece of this, and again, I'm going to keep it super simple for this one. The last piece, if I line up to the right and I make my normal swing, that should promote more of a draw, but I want to visualize that shot in my mind. I want to see that ball shot shape coming from right to left, turning on over the direction I want it to before I swing. If I can't visualize that in my mind, then I want to wait until I can before I swing. So a couple practice swings, get that visual, and then go ahead and let it fly. For me, I don't have too much of a trouble hitting a draw, so just a simple setup change is really all that's needed. There we go, nice draw. I pulled it a little bit left, probably overdid it a little bit more trying to get it to draw a lot, but that's about all you need there. Now if you're still struggling, that's very basic. If you're struggling to hit a draw, you have a tough time doing it consistently, let's take it a step farther. The second piece here is going to be, let's keep those feet lined up to the right, but this time what I want you to do is I want you to focus on the direction the club is swinging, get it swinging even more to the right. Typically if you're struggling with a draw, if I'm hitting a straight shot here, you may have that club come a little steep and a little bit out in front of you, and then that club wants to open up through contact. So you need to shallow it out and get it swinging more to the right coming through contact. Now the best way to do that, again I'm going to line up to the right, but I want you to make a few extreme practice swings. Let's go ahead and get the club as it's starting down, the butt end of the club pointing out toward this camera, way to the right, and then when I swing, I'm going to go ahead and let that club finish over my shoulder. So I'm going this way, really exaggerated, way out to the right like that. Do a good 15, 20 of these, and that's going to help you to get that club more from the inside. That's way exaggerated. If you actually did that, that ball would hook like crazy, but that's way exaggerated. That's just what you're going to feel. In reality, you're just going to be swinging a little bit to the right, not very much at all. So again, let's start with that feet, maybe 10 yards to the right of my target. 10, 15 practice swings, really getting that club inside out. Really get it exaggerated. The more my club path goes to the right, the more that ball is going to start to the right. Last tip here, tend to play it a little bit back in your stance if you're going to play a big draw. The farther forward I get, now my body's in the way, I can't get going to the right. The farther back, now I have plenty of room to swing to the right. So a little bit back, maybe a ball back of where you normally would. This one I want to exaggerate a little bit to really get this one turning over. So feet and path. There we go. So I really made that extreme, tried to really get that one slinging. Once you do that a few times, then you can tone it down. Do a little less to the right, get the feet a little straighter, and that big draw is going to turn into a smaller draw once you get comfortable with it. Now the 3rd level, this is for the guys that are die-hard slicers, really struggle with that. I have a great device here I call the Impact Snap. I'm going to show you how to use this. These are awesome for forward shaft lean and getting a draw. If you don't have one of these, that's no problem. I'll show you exactly what to do, even if you don't have one of these at your house. So the way this works is, red logo is on the top, it says Impact Snap. I'm going to put that facing up, and I'm just going to take my normal grip. Now if I slice, I'm tending to come over the top. Now this is very vertical, and then I'm pushing with my hands, and you notice that that ball, this big yellow ball here on the back, is on the outside of my forearm. What I want to do is I want to have forward shaft lean. Now, if I have forward shaft lean and my face is open, so this is pretty interesting. This is why I like this device. Let me go ahead and grab a club and this at the same time so I can show you what's going on here. So if I have forward shaft lean and my face is open, look where that ball is. So my face is pointing to the right. I even got a better way of showing this to you guys. Let me grab this training aid here. Throw that on the club face. Now you can see where my face is pointing. If I have my forward shaft lean and my face is pointing to the right, look, the ball is off my forearm, especially when you're looking from the down the line view, a good 4 or 5 inches, 6 inches. So if I release this face, I turn it on over, now look how that ball starts to touch my forearm. So let's let's do it with the club here first. Here's the right way. I'm squaring that face up. If I wanted to swing a little more to the right and do that, that's that real big draw type motion. If I do that with my impact snap now, and I do it correctly, I want that ball to hit on the back of my forearm like this whenever I hit. So you can see how it's resting on the back of my forearm there. So as I go back down to the dress, I'm gonna come down, roll these hands until that ball hits on the inside of my forearm. Now what you'll notice right away, I have a bowed left wrist, and my right wrist is back and covered. That's gonna be that forward shaft lean, that's gonna be that compression, that's gonna be covering the ball like people talk about. This device is a little bit exaggerated. It takes it to the extreme, but that's the fastest way I've found to learn. If you don't take it to the extreme, you just do a little bit at a time, the process gets so much longer. Really cover that ball, really get forward shaft lean, really draw it, and this is a cool device for that. So now I've done some training with my impact snap, or I've just done the same thing. Well, essentially what I feel is I'm gonna bow that wrist, and I feel like I'm doing this to get that club to turn on over. If I did that with a golf club, let's show you how extreme that is. If I did this with a golf club and I bowed that wrist, see how the face is closing versus cupped, a lot more closed here. And then as I roll that over, look how the face just points straight to the left. I mean, that's the biggest hook you could possibly hit. Same thing with the right hand. If I have it turned this way, now I got that covering action. And as I roll that wrist, again, I'm exaggerating here, but that's a real big hook action. I could probably hook that ball 50, 60 yards if I did that. So once you get that sensation, put all three together. Line up a little to the right, swing your club path a little, or way inside out, and then get those hands doing that kind of action to really roll it on over. Now, for fun, I'm going to show you one. Let's make sure my flight scope is turned on here, hasn't timed out. But I'm going to show you one that I'm going to get to hook probably 50, 60 yards, kind of throwing all three of these together. It's pretty crazy how much you can get it to go. So I'm just going to go way to the extreme. I'm going to turn my stance about 45 degrees to the right. I'm going to really close down the club face, swing even more to the right, and let's see how much I can get this ball to hook. There we go. I don't know if the flight scope picked that up. That's probably an 80-yard snap hook. May have not started. Yeah, there it goes. It really turned over. So that ball ended up with a big curve on it. And it's fun to do those when you're starting out. Now, go ahead and hook the heck out of them. Really snap hook them if you're struggling slicing. And what we can do is we can just tone that down. Now, once I get that ball really turning over, let me just bring everything back a little bit. Do the exact same thing. A little less to the right with the feet. Ball slightly back in the stance. Instead of swinging this direction way out to the right, I'm just going to feel like I'm barely swinging to the right. Instead of feeling like I'm rolling the hands like this, I'm just going to have a little tiny bit of roll of the hands. And if I do those, that's going to straighten this ball flight out. There we go. Again, nice little draw. I probably overdrew that one a little bit just because I'm doing these extreme drills. But keep on doing less and less until you go straight, and then more and more until you get the big hooks. If you can get to where you do less and more, force yourself to go more and less, more and less. What you're doing is you're training yourself to be able to control this golf club. And if you can control the way the club swings, you have control of your golf game and you have control of your scores. Now, how do we make this more consistent? Let's say that you're like a lot of the players that are struggling to hit that draw, that club shaft gets a little steep in the transition. And then from there, you're trying to swing to the right, you're trying to release the face, and you get some good results like we did in this video, but you don't hit 10 or 15 in a row. Maybe you struggle with one or two. And what I want you to do is learn to shallow that club out. It's what we call the move in the Top Speed Golf system. And I have an awesome video for you called the tennis racket drill. That's the next piece. So now that we got that ball hooking, let's get it to hook every single time, or to draw every single time. in the move. So I'm going to play a preview of that video. Just go ahead and click the card on your screen or the link down below in the description. You'll get instant access and you can get that consistent draw. Let's go and get started. Good player problems. We're going to talk about shallowing that club shaft out as we're starting down, as we're doing this rotating of the face that we worked on in the last video. As we start this downswing, what you'll see with basically all of the top players is, instead of coming kind of over the top and letting the hands come out away from their body, letting the club come out away from their body, again coming down steep into the ball and then having to open up, kind of fillet open the face and add loft to it, the flattening of the shaft should happen as soon as we start down. So as we start this downswing, what we want to have happening here, you can imagine that if I draw a line from the hosel of my club up through my right elbow, that's my swing plane line, my elbow plane. As I go to the top of the swing, I'm going to be slightly above that. And then as I start down, I want my hands to start to shallow out. I want the club to shallow out inside of this elbow plane. And at the same time,